Hello, 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 hello. Is this thing working? I hope it's working. Let's see. Mute, unmute. Oh, no, that's right. Green light means it's working. Okay, seems to be doing something down the bottom. Yeah, so I wanted to do this video. I'm not really good at getting these whole live stream things to work properly, so if it isn't, my bad. I'm not a techno guy. I don't really know computers. I know how to I know the basics of computers, and I know slightly, things that are useful, but and things that I would use in workforce type of thing. But that's about as far as my computer knowledge goes. I'm not a computer guy, so if the stream's being crud, my bad, guys, my bad. I used to hate it when people said that, but I tend to find that I say it sometimes a bit more often. Anyway, I wanted to do this video because I was watching a documentary, and I don't know, I just kind of felt like a lot of people sort of, every time the world sort of has a big, like a social shift or a economic shift or there's obviously a revolutionary thing happening. There's a new political movement or there's a new political thing, and sometimes that stuff sticks and sometimes it basically changes the world. What I'm going to tell you is not how to change the world. I don't care about changing the world, all right? World's fine as it is. We all kind of leave each other alone, and that's fine with me. So if we're all doing that and we all just live our lives, I really don't have any issues. What I want to tell you is basically what I consider their principles to being successful in life, all right? And it's what I've learned over the years. So I don't know how long this stream will actually go for or whether you'll even agree with me, but at least that way it gives you some context into how other people think. That's it, all right? If you're happy with that, that's basically all this video really is. Okay, so I've worked for different people, and I've learned different ways on which I'm trying to find a way for this not to annoy me. I've learned for different ways in how people have all become rich and successful. Depending on what you consider rich and successful for you. See, not everyone gets the same start in life. That's what you've got to remember. So education-wise in a country, we should all pretty much be on about the same level, between 50 and 75% of what would be expected to know, basically, as we leave school. So basically, when you enter the workforce, everyone should have a range between 50 to 75%, and anything above that's gravy. So basically, what I've learned in years is that there's church groups. If you've ever heard of the Brethren community, basically they're wealthy. They are really wealthy, all right? Like, they don't go on social media and they don't listen to music. I mean, that's part of their thing. As to that's part of their thing. Like, they don't listen to radio. They don't read newspapers. They basically just stick to their own group. And I kind of feel like that, you know, in their own way that hurts them, but that's my opinion, all right? But as far as you look at it, they are stupid wealthy. Like, individually, they, you know, by the age of 25, they own their own house kind of thing. Like, you might be saying, what? Like, how can a church group be like that? Because it's the way they are and what they do. So their whole purpose in life is church, family, and work. They have nothing else. That's it. That's all they do. I don't even know if they travel, but essentially that's what they do. And how they get wealthy is they basically, well, I don't know if they had big backers to begin with, but they all, it's kind of the same as what, and I'll get to that in another group, basically. I'll get to that in a minute. Basically, what they do is they buy a business for, say, Jim's family. And Jim so this business might be anything. It doesn't matter what the business is. It could be a cleaning business. It could be a computer business. It could be a furniture business, a pet shop business. It doesn't matter. That's not... basically, so basically what they're doing is they buy each other businesses, right? And once they pay off their businesses, they then help Jane's family and then Fred's family, etc. So basically, they might start in a business all together. Even they might start like a business together. Then they run this business, and then once that business starts making money, that's when they start going, oh, okay, well, we've got this money, so we're going to buy these people. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't really matter what country you live in. Their philosophy on making money is basically they all pull together, they all buy a business, they all work this business until it becomes successful, and then with the money that they make off that business, they basically start building their empire, I guess you could say. So that's the first thing they do. They all seem to stick together and help each other out. That's basically what they're doing. So depends on how you look at that. You can look at that however you want. That's we're not here to judge people, all right? We're just talking about how each people becomes successful, all right? And another group that happened in Australia that became quite wealthy, and how they did that is basically you had Italian immigrants. Now, after the war, we were running out of people. So we said, bring them in, bring up all the people that want to come to Australia. And a lot of Italians were dispersed. So they basically were like, yep, all right. So we had Italians and English, etc. And that's basically but basically, so you had a lot of these Italian families. Now they had nothing. They had their work ethic, and a lot of them were masons and stone masons and concreters and bricklayers, etc. They all worked construction. A lot of them did, and they did the same thing where they would go, all right, we need a house to live in, but we have no money. So they basically three families would buy one person a house, and then they'd all pull their money and smash his house out. And then once that house was paid off, then they would do the next person and then the next person. And that is essentially how the Italians in Australia became very wealthy people. So it wasn't cheating or mafia stuff or anything like that. It was actually just legitimate. We're just going to help each other out. Okay, that was their whole plan. They had no other plan other than that. That was basically what they did. So that was the Italians. So they did a similar thing to the Brethrens, except I think you'll find that the Italians were a bit more personalized, whereas the Italians they weren't about changing religion or anything, or isolating themselves from society. They were just solely about helping each other succeed. Okay, now what sort of encouraged in the West, and what I've personally found is most successful for me personally, is a good education. All right. Now, there's two things you need with that. One, you need a good education, and two, you need to have the drive to go out and do something. It's no good having a great education. I know people that have great educations and don't do anything with it, and they still work basic jobs. All right, they're not doing jobs that they can excel at and do and go, hey, you're using your brain, we want you to start thinking more and doing more, and we might want you on this management course, and hey, and I've heard of people turning down management courses. Now really, I don't see the logic behind that. I think if the company or the government thing or whatever it is that you work for is thinking that you're management material, then I think you should at least have a look at it. Because, I mean, you never know where it could take you. Life is like that. Why turn down an opportunity? And I have heard of people doing it. Anyway, so the or at least the Western Australian philosophy, I don't know about. I'm just talking about people born in Australia. So basically, our philosophy is there's about two things you can do. You can, two things to start with. So you can either do a trade, or if you're not going to do a trade, you can basically you can go to university or TAFE. and do something else. But education is the whole philosophy behind that is education is basically the most important thing. All right. And personally, in my life experiences, I find that this is a good, basically a good way as to how things are done, right? Like education seems to have got me a little bit further ahead in life, that I can start doing a little bit more with my life, and I can start look at improving my life in other ways. And you often find with money also, you can tend to do a bit more things. For example, when you earn more money, you can put more money aside to either do more study or pay off whatever it is that you need to pay off. Now, one thing look, I'm not going to say that it's wrong, because I've been very interested in doing it myself, but from what I've learned is it's very hard to actually make money, and that is shares. All right. Now, a lot of people do shares, and if you're good at that, that's fine. You know, if you know how to do that, then that's good, and go by all means. But I don't know if I'd be trusting someone else with your money when it comes to shares, only because they tend to want to, like if you watch the philosophies behind the Wolf of Wall Street, they tend to just want to keep the money for themselves rather than actually paying you the money. And that to me is kind of defeats the whole purpose of shares. When you're in it to make money, that's it. All right. You want to be wealthy. That's, and look, the rich people look at wealth differently. See, you can either be rich or you can be wealthy. Now, rich is where you just win lotto, bang, you got big lump sum money, or you get an inheritance, it's just a giant sum of money. That is rich. All right. Wealthy is where you have continuous wealth coming in, say a job. All right. That's wealth. All right. That's the difference. So the difference is one is continuous, the other one is once. All right. So just so you know the difference. Okay. Because there is a difference. And I find, as you do tend to go up further, it helps increase your opportunity, right? And that helps increase. So the whole philosophy of doing an education and then getting something out of it is, it works, right? It works, but you got to be real. But you got to be realistic. You got to, with education, you've always got to sacrifice something, all right? Whether that's full-time work, whether that's having relationships, whether that's going out and doing something, traveling, whatever, right? There is always a sacrifice to be made if you want to be successful. All right. So there are other ways to make money and other things. Now, just trying to think of some of the other. Obviously you could theoretically start a business and succeed at that, but that takes a certain person as well as a certain business idea. See, sometimes it's more than an idea. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this, ladies and gentlemen, is because through all these giant movements and everything, it's always been based on an idea. And the idea has always been about everyone else. And unfortunately, little man in us, we get screwed, all right? It doesn't matter who comes to power. We always get told, oh, yeah, we're going to look after you guys. And that's not reality. All right, guys, that's not reality. All right. So it doesn't matter who comes to power. It doesn't matter what their philosophies are and what they stand for. The point here is you and me both, we're peons in the system. So forget all that nonsense. What you should think about is being successful for yourself. All right. Because that is something you can take with you all the time and, help teach others and things like that. And these are not terrible ideas. This is what other people have done and it has succeeded. All I'm saying is, do you consider it worth? Now, see, the trouble is with, say, what the Brethren do and what the Italian Australians did at the start for most other people is there was a level of trust there that they were going to get repaid what they've put in. All right. Or the other person was going to get, like, who's to say that once Fred had his house built, that he was actually going to help build such and such a house? There's no proof of that. So that's why Australian, why we never went down that road. That's why we didn't go, oh, we're going to do the same thing because it works for them. so it can work for us. No, because it's a trust thing. That's basically the issue. Do you trust that other person is going to come through for you? And that's why it has to be someone you absolutely thoroughly trust, and you've both agreed. And whether or not you just sign a contract and give it to a lawyer and say, we're going to honor this contract, and we need to make sure that you see that we do. Something like that. Like, this is basically, yeah. So, I mean, look, I would much rather see more people getting rich and successful and getting off the poverty line, right? And like I said, everyone starts in different places. So if you do start at the bottom, at an entry-level job, which is basically where I started, best thing you can do is get an education, right? That would be get an education above what you've learned at school and get yourself off that entry-level job, or go get a trade, all right? Do something that's going to get you some real money. All right. And that's right. There was one other way I was considering would actually work other than shares, right? So, in shares, how we all put money in, and the more people that put money in, the more valuable shares are, blah, 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 blah. Trouble is that's paper money, right? Meaning it's on a piece of paper. It's not actually physically in front of you. You can't see that money, all right? Instead of shares, what you could theoretically do is similar to what the Italians and the Brethren do, is you could buy a big chunk of land and just stick some cows on it, and then you all just take pieces, or like cows are very low maintenance, so you could do cows, but if you wanted to work it, you could all have like a designated day that you go out and work on this farm, so that way it's always being managed and worked on. Like Monday and Tuesday, Jane's family goes out there and does some work, and Wednesday, Thursday, that's how you could do it. And basically, if you don't have a lot of money and you don't have much to start with, you could theoretically do that for a business. You could do like that kind of farming type of idea, that you could all join in and basically run this farm, and obviously not say give up your lives, but as long as you said like probably your best bet would be every weekend or something like that. So you can still do your normal job and then go do this thing. But depends how dedicated you are to wanting to make extra money and that's the big thing there. But the difference with that would be is that when you sell those cows or whatever it is that you're doing on that farm, is you will actually see real cash in your hands. That would be the difference. All right. And that's what I'm saying is sometimes other people don't have your best interests at heart, but if you're doing something where they have to sort of go, yeah, you have to give me actual money, that's essentially like where success comes. Like I foresee, you could all sort of work together on. I'm talking like maybe like five different people all said, like we'll pitch in, say, 20 grand or something on this piece of land, or I don't know, whatever it is that the land costs, and you all agree to, whatever it is that you've agreed to and you've decided to do. All right, that's all I'm saying, is that most of these rich people get their money from working together. All right, that's the real key there. What I'm trying to get across to you. Individually, your best bet is education, and then if you can improve your chances of making money that way, that's your best bet individually. As a collective, yeah, you'll make a ton more money for sure. But you have to all be in agreement. That's the thing, and that would be the hardest thing. Would be getting everyone on board. It's basically like everyone jumps on in some great business idea, whether or not you all think it's great. I don't know, but I don't know what doesn't matter what the business idea is, as long as you've said to yourself, well, we're going to give it a shot. I think that'll do, really. I mean, I can't actually think of anything else. I've talked very fast through this video. For that, I apologize, but I didn't want to make this thing too long. All right, guys? I want you all to have a great day. As you can see, I've got a new member to my family. So, peace and look after yourselves. And I guess I'll see you on the next video. So, take care. Bye.